week's weekly wrap-up was not very big. I only did a few books because I was on vacation. But this week, hopefully I can get through some more books. I know one of the books this week is mega thick. Well, anyways, let's get on with this weekly wrap-up. First up, we have Swamp Thing Volume 3, Rot World, The Green Kingdom. I do have to say this was a great finale to the Rot World storyline, the one that involves Anton Arcane and the Swamp Thing, and of course it's still got that psychedelic type Art Nouveau kind of artwork, and this did include some issues from the Animal Man, which the Animal Man tied in with this storyline too, was the red and the green versus the rot. So, of course, most of the story was written by Scott Snyder, and the Animal Man is written by Jeff Lemire. And I do have to say, Scott Snyder is an excellent comic book writer. If you do not know who he is, he's the guy who wrote American Vampire. So he's got a good knack for writing supernatural fiction. So, I thought this was an excellent story. The characters, everything smoothed. It was intriguing, and it's definitely suspenseful. So I rated this one 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. I thought it was a great finale to that storyline. And there weren't too many parts that, were duplicates, because as you can see, along with that, I did read Animal Man Volume 3, Rot World, The Red Kingdom, and this helped fill in Animal Man's side to that Rot World storyline. So there were kind of like shared stories in both books. And of course this one's written by Jeff Lemire, who did Sweet Tooth and a few others. And I really like this. I didn't like this as much as I liked the Swamp Thing one, but it was still good. It still has, some good artwork in it. And of course, I love Jeff Lemire's writing, except for one book that he wrote. I don't even remember the name of it, but yeah. But I thought this was a great story too, and I also rated this 4 out of 5 stars just because it was a great finale for Animal Man with a sad, tragic ending. And I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. I'm not going to reveal what happens, but it was kind of sad. But yeah, this was a great story too. If you haven't read anything by Jeff Lemire, you should be checking out Animal Man, and definitely check out Sweet Tooth. But yeah, this is good artwork too. I mean, next up we have Batman Eternal, and this is only one volume of this. It's written by Scott Snyder, the same guy who did American Vampire. I remember seeing this when it came out as single issues, and I was kind of really interested to find out why it was called Batman Eternal. But even after reading this massive volume, I still don't know why it's called Batman Eternal. Well, anyways, to get to the gist of it, Jim Gordon has been, falsely, I don't know, he was set up, and a bunch of people died, so he's locked in prison, and slowly the city of Gotham is being taken over by this other, crime lord, and there's stuff going on in the Arkham Asylum. There's stuff going down with the gangs and Penguin and all that. It's just so messy. It's so sloppy. And there's so many different twists and turns. It's just so overdrawn. My head was spinning reading this. And like I said, it's such a massive volume that this has to be the first time I've actually been kind of disappointed by Mr. Snyder's writing here. I mean, not saying that it was bad. I did rate this 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I just thought it was okay. I just really did not think it was necessary to do wherever they plan on going with this storyline. There was no reason to make it this fucking big. It's just way too much. This reminds me of the War Games books that they did. And there were 3 volumes, and they were all this size. They really didn't need to draw this out. And it ended on a cliffhanger, of course, which means there's going to be another volume. Hopefully this is not going to be a 3-volume storyline. But that's what I thought of that one. Next up we have The Woods by Boom Comics, which I think I may have read a few Boom comics before, but I can't recall off the top of my head which ones those were. But when I first got introduced to this, it was a recommendation from Goodreads. It wasn't like in the recommendations like category, but it was one of those things where I had read some book and then this had popped up because I read that book. And it said, because you like that one book, this one was recommended to me. So when I first got recommended this, I was thinking that it was going to be like a thriller or supernatural, some sort. Like, I thought it was going to be like a horror comic maybe, because it's called The Woods. I mean, I'm thinking, but then again, this weird cover, it's got this like, you know, pink and everything's purple. Well, anyways, what it really is it's this high school gets like teleported to this moon in an unknown universe, and that planet you see, in the pink planet you see in the background, they don't know where they are. They just know they've been teleported someplace, like the whole school. And there's like alien life there, but yet it's like Earth on this moon. They can breathe and, you know, they have to survive there. Well, anyways, the drawing is kind of cartoony looking, but the bright use of colors really makes up for that, and the story too. Now, this really started out really kind of disjointed, really slow. It was really kind of awkward the way it started, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I really like this book. I was thinking 3 stars at first when I first started reading it, but once I reached past the climax of the story, it really started to pick up. Things started to get a little more interesting, and I don't want to tell you too much more about why it got interesting because I really don't want to spoil it, and that's one of the reasons why I thought this was so good. I did rate this 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I really do think it makes for an interesting conceptual story that I haven't read anything like this. I don't recall anything being like this. Possibly Doctor Who, maybe I've seen something similar to this. But yeah, I would be interested to see where this picks up and what happens after the events of Volume 1. So it's kind of interesting. I definitely would check it out because it is from an independent comics company, one that's not one of the big ones. But yeah, like I said, the cool use of color kind of made up for that. Okay, so this is going to be my last trade/graphic novel for the week, and it is Batman Superman Volume 2, Game Over. This one, the first half of this book was really annoying just for the sheer fact that it was all like centerfold, like where you had to read it like this format. And plus the story was not very good. It had, I think his name is Mogul or whatever his name is, but he's this Green Lantern villain, and he comes from a place called War World. And there's this guy called the Toy Master who thinks he's created this video game, but it's really a plot from Mogul or Mongol or whatever his name is. Mongol, that's his name. Well, anyways, this guy, he wants to basically control Earth, and he thinks he's going to do it through this video game. So that part was really crap. I really didn't care for it. But then when it got to the second half, and it shows the Huntress and Power Girl, who is from an alternate dimension, and she's really just Supergirl from an alternate dimension. But it kind of revealed their origins and where they come from, and I found that very interesting. And the artwork style was very similar to that from the prequel Dark Tower series. So I don't know if it's the same artist. It looks like, I think it is Jay Lee or whatever. I think is the same person who did that. But I really enjoyed the second half of this, so I bumped up my rating from a 3 out of 5 stars to a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed the second part just because of the storyline involving Power Girl and the Huntress. I thought it totally made this book. So, of course, as always, I'm always looking for any recommendations. if you guys have any comics based on what you've seen me read so far that you think that I would like, let me know down below. And if you have already read any of these books, share with me what you thought of them. Thanks for watching, and until next time, later guys.